As a child, the Dreamkeeper never saw the sun. He was born during the late 23rd century in one of the underground lunar cities that flourished there until wars over mineral rights turned them into ghost towns. Only appropriate that they were also beneath the dark side of the moon. At 10, he was evacuated to the Earth. At 15, he was chosen to become a Dreamkeeper, working in a different kind of dark world, monitoring lives unlived, sustaining the records of unrealized souls.
Archiving the imprints of butterfly wings before they've even left the chrysalis.
But for the last couple of years, he'd started to break the rules. Chosen for his empathic abilities, he gradually realized that he could read the dreams of others without the heavy cerebral reality monitor required. That worked through magnetic resonance technology and limbic system stimulation.
After all, I'm not a cyborg. Why can't I work without the monitor?
Nor did he report his burgeoning ability like he was supposed to do.
And why should I tell them? If it makes me more accurate at my work?
The filters caused a 15% distortion factor, and he did not want to mark a sleeper for ejection from suspended animation because of that. And on the night our story is to begin, he was in for more than one surprise. The very first dreamer, a young man with a gray but determined face, was striding forcefully down a long corridor of shadows and dark angles, even though the arrows on the pathway pointed in the other direction.
Yes, if there is somewhere he really needs to go, why can't he do that too?
But suddenly, hidden gears began to creak and turn. The sidewalk started to move, taking the dreamer farther and farther away from where he wanted to go, accelerating moment by moment until he could only just stay on his feet.
What's happening? What? Oh, too fast! Too fast!
Through a series of various shaped windows, lights started to flicker, then flash brightly. Painfully vivid colored images, as if someone were projecting three-dimensional movies. For the sleepers, dreams in colors were not necessarily that rare, but toward 2 a.m., the Dreamkeeper had to switch to an old-fashioned infrared filter to protect his optic nerve from being overwhelmed.
Watch out! Watch out!
As if he was the one being assailed by fragmented pieces of a stained glass window, each carrying a memory and emotion. The movies portrayed the young dreamer himself as a child, playing on a swing under an apple tree in full white blossom, walking through a garden of pink roses and yellow jonquil.
How lovely. I'm not quite sure why they're hurting him so very much.
Then, the young man was on a train, journeying across a world as barren and as gray as his face. Above this wasteland, an apocalyptic sky of dark, brooding stars. But soon, he was in a modern city, all glass and steel and internal corridors from one building to the next, and he was being ushered by faceless hands into a cold and sterile room he didn't want to enter.
Let go! What is this place? No, leave me alone!
The dreamer tried to run back down another moving sidewalk, but he stumbled, fell, stood up, kept getting thrown in the opposite direction he wanted to go, the colors taking on a harsh and threatening sheen. Finally, he curled up in a fetal position on the relentlessly hurtling track. He'd given up, stopped resisting. And the conveyor belt sidewalk carried him on into the darkness, to be born into a world he never wanted and had never hoped to see.
Fool! Why can't he just let go of the past? Doesn't he know the unseen themselves are terrified of dreams like this? If I report it, who knows what they might do to him? Would it be so wrong to misplace just this one file?
But the Dreamkeeper also knew, if the unseen discovered this deception, his own life might become a waking nightmare. For who knew how many minotaurs lurked at the center of that digital labyrinth, waiting there to make a sacrifice of the young sent to sustain the integrity of the maze?
But I have to do it. I have to.
So, he switched the file to a place where it would be even harder to find, in the endless quantum archives that became more endless over time.
What would Mother and Father say? Well, best they're gone now and we'll never know. I'm so tired. So very tired.
He turned off the light over his desk and sat back in his chair. That night, for the first time in a very long time, he had a dream. He was on a swing with a blue mountain behind him, and nearby, the sound of a stream, like the laughter of a sweet-voiced child. He awoke several hours later, confused.
Was that dream mine? I don't remember such a place.
Or did it really belong to that young man on the moving sidewalk? Was the Dreamkeeper losing his sense of self by identifying too much with the dreamers? Starting to yearn as well for a past he'd never experienced himself? And in some ways, experiencing these dreams more deeply than the dreamers themselves, because he was awake and his stress centers less suppressed.
This is not supposed to happen. This is not supposed to happen at all.
The Dreamkeeper had taken another hesitant but very dangerous step in the wrong direction, and who knows where it all might lead or end. We are in the lobby of an apartment building in a working class suburb on the northwest edge of Chicago. The year is 2018. That young man sitting there inside the maintenance closet is named Henry. Now, Henry may look like he is asleep, but he is not. He's supposed to be doing his job as a detective, to monitor the elevator and lobby of this building for petty vandalism and theft. But he is also not. He is instead writing a story. And it was not his voice we were hearing before, but that of that other young man, David, the Dreamkeeper, who you have already met. Unless, of course, it's the other way around, and David is dreaming about Henry. One of those dreams of the past David is not supposed to have or know about. Two destinies, parallel lives, nearly overlapping, but perhaps never meant to really meet. The lights would fade on Henry now if this was a stage play, but it is not. It is a play in your mind's eye, and in your imagination, and as close as your own dreams.
The night was longer than usual, not because my own dreams made me restless,
but because the dreams of others kept me riveted to my chair. Because I am a dream keeper. That is my job.
Not a dream catcher, exactly, not one of those lacy, feathery circles people hang on their windows in the moonlight as a token toward a better future.
Though what I do does involve the future. My job, well, is to eavesdrop on the sleep of others to make sure they're not being led astray.
Someday they will awaken and become the leaders, the movers and shakers of a more orderly civilization, hand chosen for this task, engineered if you like. Most of them were put into this state in their early years, and someone has to keep track of their dreams.
They are like the seeds I am assigned to nurture, to keep from growing astray from their appointed mission.
Yes, ensure they are not developing bad habits of thought and character, nor harboring some potentially debilitating trauma, whether of their own experience or the collective unconscious of humanity.
They must be perfect themselves to create that expected perfect future.
As for me, I would be ruled out in an instant.
Some nights, my present reality itself seems like a dream. Well, the dreams I record seem to contain deeper truths about the real.
Am I myself really just a voice floating in space, a set of digital files projected on the flat edge of the universe?
My life is set of data, a hologram, ghostly even when I am not a ghost?
Or am I on a stage in some small storefront theater in a big city, acting out a role as a writer that someone else has cast me in?
Or just being projected through quantum space from one computer to another, my soul a wayward traveler. My reality is slippery indeed.
Sometimes it is very hard to tell. If you use your imagination and wonder begins to generate self-doubt.
Yes, this is the story of how I learned to stop analyzing and measuring other people's dreams.
And started to live and realize some of my own. And now, how better a way to start but the dream keeper meets the girl.
The Dreamkeeper noticed there was another dream to monitor. He was soon in for his biggest surprise of that work session.
Case 28713, dream 1000 in this sequence. He should maybe be getting a prize, if he were actually awake, that is.
The Dreamkeeper starts to record the dream, almost as if it is happening to him.
I'm climbing up the side of a building. No ladder or steps, just walking on the air. It's so easy, and I'm not afraid. At the top of the building, there is a garden. A man and a woman are drinking clear water from a pond. All around them, wild animals are drinking too, and no one seems afraid of anyone else. The couple are naked, but don't seem to realize it. They're beautiful, and don't seem to realize it either. The man sees me and asks, "Who are you?" The woman says,
"Don't talk to him. We're not supposed to talk to strangers."
The man replies, "But why does he have to be a stranger? Wouldn't it be nice to have others to talk to besides ourselves?"
"I am not enough?"
she asks.
"Very well, I will talk to him then."
She approaches me, but the closer she gets, the older and older they both seem, and I realize it's wrong, and I yell, "No, no, don't!" as I start back toward the edge of the building to climb down, but instead I trip and fall and fall and fall. But I don't crash land. I stand up and look around. The building is gone, completely vanished. Only a stray cat staring at me and mewing. It's hungry. I take an apple out of my pocket, all I had with me to eat. I must have got it from the garden at the top of the building. I give it to the cat. It takes a bite, stares at me wisely, more wisely still, and pads off into the shadows. And I wake up.
Oh, you've got to tell me. Those people at the top of the building.
Huh?
Oh, come on.
Who the hell are
anyway?
you?
Oh, nobody. Just a cleaner. You were so focused. I didn't want to bother you.
Bother me? How did you get in here?
Oh, I come in tonight to empty the garbage. Don't worry. I have access. The schedule showed you were off tonight, so...
I have some work to catch up on. I've fallen behind.
Yes, that would explain it. The other night, well, when I came in, your floor was a mess. Papers everywhere. I saw some of your notes and...
You saw my notes?
Just a scrap as I was putting in the garbage. I just took a glance, that's all. I get bored, you see?
See, if you expect me to believe it, tell me, are you here to investigate me?
Don't be ridiculous. Do you think the unseen would send a woman for that? What's making you so nervous?
Nothing. I'm not.
Uh-huh. Are you in trouble? Have you done something that would call for you to be investigated?
We are all guilty in the eyes of the unseen, and the life we are given is our penance. Isn't that true?
I wouldn't know. But that dream, and I hear the start of a story, I just want to know what happens next.
Well, no one really knows, do they? That's what makes them dreams. Fragments of stories that overlap with other stories that never quite fit together, and yet have a logic of their own.
Yes, they remind me of a fairy tale my mother once told me.
Your mother was not supposed to tell you stories like that, especially if you don't understand what they mean in the first place.
Oh, so you understand everything then? The mysteries of the human psyche, the universe of synaptic galaxies, the infinite pathways of the brain?
No, I didn't say that, did I? It's just my job to assess the dreams of others and mark ones that, well, maybe are not as they should be.
Like a teacher grading a test? I read about that in an ancient book called Anne of Green Gables. But if you don't know what the dreams mean, how can you decide if they're good or bad?
Somehow I can just tell, all right? Usually I can hear their voices and...
Oh, so you are spying on the dreams of others.
Me? I'm not the one who snuck in here to read other people's garbage.
I told you, I didn't sneak in. Anyway, how else could I be sure?
Of what?
Nothing. Just that your space needed cleaning again. Are you going to report what happened tonight?
Who, the dreamer for the dream, or you for listening in?
No, silly, the lady who ran the orphanage for letting me read fairy tales.
I thought you said your mother read them to you.
Well, she wasn't my real mother, but I was luckier than most.
Where is she now?
Don't know. I think they closed that orphanage down. Were you close to your parents? That is, if you had any?
I don't remember them very well anymore. Wait, no, you're trying to distract me again, and I'm only going to ask you one more time, why were you listening in?
Not like I could help it. You're not wearing your head console or your eye scanner.
How do you even know I'm supposed to use them?
Calm down. I didn't. I just saw them on a shelf gathering dust for me to clean. And then when I came in today, I saw your face, so pale, so tired looking, hunched over your desk.
Terrible face. You shouldn't look at it either.
No, it's not, but I'm really sorry. I couldn't help overhearing, but can I hear some more?
You were really amazing. Why would you want to? I have no choice, but you.
Well, I just thought you might like some company. I don't think you really want to report me anyway, do you? Or you would have done it already. You must have your reasons. You can tell me if you like. Or not. But I'm not hurting anything by being here, am I? Well.
No, except for breaking about a dozen rules, but fine. I don't care anymore. I don't care. Nobody ever said if the cleaner comes in and I accidentally forgot to put my console on and just let the dream reader play so I could do other work.
So tell me, who are you really?
I don't know much about my ancestors. I had once hoped to become a kind of counselor, but I wasn't deemed qualified, and the unseen don't see the need for that kind of work anymore. But at least this way I could still learn something about the infinite pathways of the human mind, as you call them. They had me study some of the big names from the ancient days, Freud, Jung,
Erickson?
mainly to assess the errors of that humanistic claptrap. The dream interpreters in the Kabbalah, the shamans of East Africa,
Buddhist mystics.
and then some of the more recent experts of the last 500 years. The first dreamer of the second moon of the third planet of Arcturus.
Stephen Clarence Mason.
Marooned there for more than 20 years, he had nothing better to do than to come up with his theories of dark matter and the cerebral cortex. But in the end, they really just want me to follow my intuition, the very thing they hope to weed out, as it's harder to keep in line.
So, because they think you have no future, they trust you to help make a better future for them.
Yes. Each day I get older, but because of the curvilinear continuum settings, the dreamers don't age beyond 25. I've been at it for over 10 years. Getting up after the sunset and going to bed before dawn. Soon I'll be 30, I think, and I don't know how to do anything else.
Have you ever even tried? Why swim every night in this endless sea hunched over your monitor as if it were your lungs, breathing in and out the dreams of others? Are you some kind of vampire?
A what?
A creature that can survive only in the dark, lives off the blood of others. But you must have your own dreams flowing through your veins. You're so strange.
So says the girl with glowing green sapphire eyes. I don't even know your name.
It's Holly.
And I'm David.
Yes. But what is perhaps stranger, David, is that I saw your face once in a dream.
No, that can't be. Why would someone like you dream of someone, well, like me?
Insignificant as I am, you mean?
No, that's not what I meant at all.
You don't talk with people much, do you?
I'm sorry, I don't. Not to one's actually awake and answering me back. I guess I'm just very used to being alone.
That's very sad. Then I am bothering you.
No, I didn't say.
I'll just finish
that
my
you're
own
bothering
work
me.
and
That is, if you are actually real and I didn't just dream you up. Will you be back tomorrow night?
It's my job, isn't it?
Yes, I suppose so. We each must do what we must do.
Yeah, I suppose I should do some real work for a change. Where did I put my surveillance notes?
And I suppose it is time we all get back to our work, or whatever it is we do between the hours of our nocturnal reveries. But next time, who knows where these stories and these dreams might lead, let alone where they might end.
Sometimes, to clear his mind from concerns about the future,
The Dreamkeeper would do a bit of research on the past. He would put the Cretaceous mode on his modular quadrant viewer and
let himself float away with creatures from the old history of the Earth.
many of them now extinct and strangely quaint, and yet still exotic and beautiful.
Well, I don't see myself as exotic exactly.
But more along the lines of a species that had run its course, an evolutionary dead end.
An offshoot without the means to survive.
Nor enough to offer to be kept around much longer.
Like the Neanderthals, or the diminutive species once popularly called hobbits, that lived on an island in Indonesia, doomed to extinction sooner rather than later.
Not realizing that he is perhaps more essential to the survival of humanity than the hothouse flowers he was helping to guide safely into the future.
Henry, tired from wrestling with the psyche of his alter ego, sojourning so far back in time, is once again falling asleep on the job, perhaps when he is most efficient as a detective. But when the sound comes up, yes, is that someone's singing in the elevator? Henry is startled and lurches back awake. He pops open another can of Coke. The voice coming through the headphones is perhaps slightly off key, but also quite beautiful in a natural sort of way.
Dreams to sell, fine dreams to sell. Angus is here with dreams to sell. Hush, my
Sometimes
dear
the things we grow to love
baby, and
most are the most
sleep
lovely,
without
no matter how
fear.
off key they may be.
King
Life
Angus
more of
has
a
brought
karaoke kind
you
of thing than
a
a smoothly
dream,
polished ballad.
my dear.
Hmm. I don't think I've heard that voice before.
Excuse me, but what do you...
I sit around here and listen to people complain about this or that as they ride the elevator up and down.
I said, excuse me. I'm the narrator, both of the book you're writing and the entire story. You can't talk directly to the audience.
Who says they can't?
I don't know, but
I created you.
in a way, I suppose, sort of. Don't you?
Like I was saying, couples argue, children bicker over toys, old fogies sigh and even blubber their eyes out when they think no one can hear them.
Oh, you mean like this?
I'm beginning to think that the elevator is the main place people take their depression, thinking they're alone, but I hear every word. I mean, I'm supposed to hear everything. That's my job.
And my job is to narrate. Give it the chance.
Sometimes they just stop the electricity and I have to time it because if they're in there too long, others will complain. But I figure if they really need the space that much, what the hell? Other times they'll sing their hearts out as if they're in the shower.
Beautiful dream, awake unto me.
Then there was that night the
Starlight
elevator got stuck and the lights went out and the people inside were desperate to get out. Funny. Either one thing or another. Yeah, why not have another cup of primordial soup?
Huh? Primordial soup? You're going off script again.
Am I? I don't think so. I'm just making a note for something that came to me.
Go ahead. What's next? How can it be after all this time?
Right. After all this time, I just wonder, how can it be? On days like this, when it starts to rain dogs and cats, even when I have time off, I don't feel like going anywhere. I mean, less people use the elevator and it gives me more time to write. After all, I'm only supposed to hit record on the camera when I hear something bad happening. More efficient that way. Now you can say it.
Thank you. But tell you what, I won't interrupt anymore if you let me be the voices of one of the other characters.
Outrageous cheek. How can I do that?
It's all in your dream, Henry. You are the producer, author, director of the stories here. They emerge from excitations of your hippocampus, not just to create proteins or move memories from short to long term, but maybe also to heal the mind while you sleep. Oh, physician, heal thyself. See, I'm great at delivering lines.
But if I'm in control, how come I can't completely control you?
Because I am just another part of you, a voice within.
You mean like a super ego guarding my repressed emotions?
No. That is rather quaint. I like to think of myself more of a deeper I, the I beyond all selfhood, a pathway to the infinite, the nothingness that is everything, an intimation of the suchness of nature, allowing you to harmonize with the ebb and flow of transformation and change.
Fine. Cosmic consciousness, then. You really don't think too much of yourself, do you? But if I let you play one of the characters, besides being the narrator, you really won't interfere anymore. Please?
Well, mostly not. None unless I have to.
Okay, but what if you're part of what they call a lucid dream? I've heard it can be dangerous to try to have too much control over your own dreams. You can lose perspective and sense of reality.
Fair point, but don't worry. We have your back. Your creations are like your children. We will look out for you the best we can.
I hope you're right.
Deal then?
Deal.
At last, back to our story and the voices in the elevator.
So we drove there. We drove, right, in the pouring rain all the way down Wall Street under the tracks. He didn't say a word, didn't smile. I don't think he even blinked the whole ride. And when we got there,
No, not at that moment, no.
You've got to be kidding. He really said that? That's just how it is. You can never trust anyone. I know, but why does it always happen to me? And don't you dare say it was a self-fulfilling prophecy. Not like I think you make it happen. I really don't.
Mrs. C? Minnie, hope you both brought your umbrellas today.
Oh, we are only getting some mail.
What kind of magazines does Minnie like to read?
She's more of a Nature Channel kind of girl. Loves David Attenborough. Have a good day, Maurice.
Yes, you too, Ellen. See you again soon, I hope.
You never know. When I fall in love, it will be forever. Not too old for that, am I, Minnie? Maybe me and Maurice and you and Sir David? Come along. I said hurry up, come on. We don't want Mr. Margolis to see you. You'll know how he hates it when you ride in the elevator. No, don't do that here. Oh, Minnie.
I can't quite place that voice. I almost recognize it. What is her last name again? 3E, I think it is. I can find out. Cats peeing in elevator again. Well, it's better than skunks by the wall outside, or drug dealers marking their territory with sneakers over a power line, or hieroglyphics on the polished metal walls of the elevator. Still, not much to report to Marty today.
Toreador, agnade, toreador, toreador. Et songez bien, oui, songe au combattant, une main noire te regarde.
Cut that out, will you? I can't believe you told me it wasn't gonna rain. I got completely soaked.
Sorry. Guess I was looking at the weather report from yesterday.
And do you know how much I paid for these shoes? They don't make hush puppies like they used to. You better have the stuff.
Hold on, what's this?
Yeah, see, I got it, I think.
You think? Either you have it or you don't.
I have it. Just cut me some slack, okay?
Ugh. You know what to do?
Told you, I know. Damn, you are worse than my mother.
Did you or did you not just almost call me a you know what?
No, man. I just meant forget it, okay? I'm on it.
Oh. Must be crazy risking my neck like this. You know, last time I played the Good Samaritan. If your brother and I weren't such good friends, you wouldn't be here right now.
Yeah, well, he's a great guy.
Yeah, maybe not the brightest since he recommended you. You know, I didn't even bother to check your references because of that.
Sorry, forgot that even drug dealers write resumes these days.
Drug dealers?
Are you kidding me? There are some great resources out there to really help you hone the old curriculum vitae. Why, I knew a guy who was using LinkedIn, but that didn't work out for obvious reasons.
Wasn't my brother by any chance?
No. Well, I can't be sure, but if you say anything bad about him either, I'll.
Sure. You guys are sort of close. Sort of like
the brothers.
That's it. I've heard enough.
Yeah, exactly. But that would make us sort of like
No. Absolutely not. Though, if we were, it would mean when you call me, which you almost called me before, you'd be insulting one of your own. Know what I mean?
Huh?
I have to stop them.
Ugh, just do your job, okay? And then I can consider if you're part of the family.
Hey, where you think you're going, bub?
Nowhere. Fast.
You got that right.
Well, right now, we ain't staying here.
No! Hey, in the name of the North Star Detective Agency, I said stop.
Come on, Bernie!
I said stop! Darn
So
it!
long, sweetheart.
Man, I'm not sure I can let Marty know I let them get away. Oh, well, I might as well go back to my writing. At least that's one world I have some control over.
Case 21978. The dreamer is floating in a large, empty room with no visible windows or walls.
No outside light?
Nothing, as if he were hovering just within the event horizon of a black hole.
Suspended as if in a dream.
Yes, living before being born.
Or remembering before being alive.
Or right before dying, perhaps. Not knowing whether a new universe is about to be created or an old one about to implode into the absolute density of non-being. Not a big bang, but another big bounce. A moment of unendurable anticipation.
But it could be an insight into existence itself.
You mean a shift in perspective, a consciousness of consciousness?
Or instead, an awareness of what always was. The possibility of light and companionship and warmth and love.
But if the dreamer is stuck in nostalgia for the moment before creation, then he's not really fit to forge a pristine future, is he? If he's obsessed with going back before things began and had a chance to fall apart.
What choice does he have suspended there? Even if it's true and the unseen do live twice as long as the rest of us, not as if the rules of entropy can ever be completely reversed.
No, probably not. But the dreamers are still expected to do the impossible.
Yes, and no wonder some of them are tortured by anxiety. Dissolution and becoming are endlessly intertwined, and we can't have one without the other. But even in the darkness, life must do its best to go on. Because in the long run, doing nothing would be even more bitterly painful, don't you think?
I don't know. Sometimes I just wish I could get out of this room for good.
Sometimes I can't stand being in this room all the time, alone, trying to create something out of nothing.
But I can't. I can't.
A knock on Henry's door. The young woman is standing there, because now it is time for the writer to meet the girl.
Excuse me,
Yes?
is there something wrong with the elevator?
I don't have a clue.
No surprise there. I've been waiting for 5 minutes.
Not that long.
Oh, matter of point of view.
Are you a writer?
What? No, I've just got some ice cream.
Oh, well, you could use the stairs.
Well, I could, but it isn't that easy.
Why not?
Well-
You just put one foot in front of the other. Ba-da-ba-da-ba.
That works if you have 2 good feet, but
Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't see. You use a cane.
a device. Yeah, whatever. You think only old people are the ones who need help walking?
I didn't. I'm sorry. I'm really sorry.
You should be, given your...
Well, I've tried everything except exercise, but it's genetic,
What, you being a bit dense?
No, am I being a bit overweight?
Yeah, well, I was born like this too. And if you aren't here to fix the elevator, you could at least do something useful.
I should be doing something useful, but I'm not the elevator repairman.
Oh, I thought I'd seen you here late once, at night, tinkering in the ceiling of the elevator.
You saw that?
Well, yeah, I was sitting in the corner of the lobby, resting, not like I was spying on you or anything. No, I'm sorry.
That's okay. I annoyed you before, so I guess we're even.
Is that how it works?
Yeah, I think so. I'm Henry.
Amy.
Yeah, I don't really even know how the elevator works, but I can still change a light bulb.
That's good for you. Wait, so you do work here?
For the maintenance staff, to fill in. I have a lot of part-time jobs.
Trying to make ends meet.
Yeah, I also work at a pet store.
Oh, the one around the corner?
Yeah, well, I started there, but then I switched to a branch really far away. Too many Iguanas. Their little eyes, they glow in the dark. It creeps me out. I don't like it much.
I've come to visit my grandma, Miss Cornfeld, and her cat. Short hair, thick Eastern European accent.
The cat?
No, my grandma.
Oh. Yeah, Mrs. C.
Is that what you call her?
Yeah, and the cat's name is Minnie.
You got it. I was away at school, doing my BA.
Oh, I was going to the community college, had about a year to go before my associates, but things came up.
It happens. Well, I have to go water grandma's plants. She says they grow better when I do it.
I'm sure they do. Anyway, what flavor?
Huh?
The ice cream?
Oh, fudge ripple.
My favorite.
Is it? See, grandma likes it too, but I don't know about Minnie. Anyway, I'll see you in a few weeks. Be good.
Try you too. Oh. Yeah, till next time. But I'm gonna have to get some ice cream for lunch.
When he was a bit younger, the Dreamkeeper used to wander alone through the shadowy lanes of an all-night carnival, enclosed in its false starry dome. But the spinning lights and garish music eventually started to feel too much like dreams. During nights off, the Dreamkeeper mostly sat up in his sleeping pod and reviewed case files. He studied the few screens available of background material on the most troubled dreamers. Truth was, he had little to go by. Many of the dreamers had entered the program before adolescence, and he wasn't allowed to go beyond the city's walls to research more about them. His little bedsit and his workroom were all he really knew. But now, he wasn't always alone.
How am I supposed to do it? Interpret the dream lives of others who have not yet really lived when I have hardly lived myself. Ridiculous, isn't it?
They say people born blind still dream of a world they've never seen.
Yes, I wonder how. Here's one I recorded 3 weeks ago, before I met you, from one of the earliest sleepers. Came from an old-fashioned family unit who were forced to put their daughter into the program. Should be labeled as reactionary, but possibly harmless. What do you think?
A young girl coming out of a school on the first day of the school year, greeting her mother and father with a big smile.
Autumn leaves falling, one of those bright golden days.
The cheers waving to the students as they approach the door.
Yes, a perfectly blue and welcoming sky.
The parents smiling too, watching their child come out of the building and both giving her a great big hug. And now the girl is in a playground after school. She's digging in a sandbox, carving imaginary worlds, a sandcastle for her dolls. In her mind, they are superheroes who can do anything. She is too shy, maybe, yet to play with the other children and thrives in her imagination. But she is happy there.
Yes, so far nothing concerning, a common motif, but see, the dream is morphing.
Oh, the girl has lost one of her dolls in the sand, and she's getting more and more distraught. Where is it? And the mother rushes over and she can't find it either. They're both digging frantically, the sand swirling in the air. Where did it go?
And now the sandbox is empty, and the girl is gone. Where did she go?
Only the mother is there, holding one of the dolls and calling her daughter's name. Strange. But the girl should dream her own absence, as if she's become the mother she still needs. How terribly sad.
Yes, I could recommend erasing that dream altogether.
She's been separated from the parents she loved deeply, and now you want to take away the 1 or 2 joyful memories she may still have left?
Not what I want, but what I am supposed to do. I can't take out the bad part without removing the good part too. In the end, too close to a disqualifying truth, too imbued with helplessness and grief.
But it's not just a doll the girl lost. It was her parents, her childhood.
That's true, but otherwise she has to be awakened and removed from the system. Because deep down her psyche is rebelling against her fate, and memory is often an enemy of the future. Why do you think there are so few historians left? The unseen want us all to face forward, especially the dreamers. They want us all to leave childhood behind for good.
No, more and more children are being engineered without parents anyway. Less chance for nurturing or connection or touch. A simple hug.
Yes, for the unseen, any kind of intimacy is really out of fashion. Though at first they did allow some diversity in the engineering as a kind of control, but eventually they began to realize the dreamers might go bad.
You talk about them like they're a can of peas or potatoes in the old days, left in storage too long. Not that we've had things growing naturally in sunlight for quite some time.
Again, you make it sound as if I decided all this by myself, as if it doesn't make me almost yearn for what I'm supposed to condemn. But it's the unseen who want to know if the dreamers go off track. That's why they came up with the idea of the dream keepers. Like canaries were once placed in coal mines to sing out if the air is threatened, or die in the process as a kind of warning.
But that's terrible. How many dream keepers have gone crazy from those brief glimpses of haunted happiness? Remorse, guilt, the stress of the decisions they have to make, or committed suicide.
I couldn't answer that question myself. I'm the only dream keeper I know.
Uncountable angel stars showering sorrow and light.
Henry has stopped writing and gone out into the lobby to clear his mind.
Yeah, I guess it would be good to be special. Wouldn't want to be too expendable. I'm the only junior detective I know. Nice for there to be some job security in the world.
Henry.
Hey! You could have warned me.
Hey, Bobby, you told me not to interrupt, and so it's too late now.
No, listen here, pal.
Bye-bye.
Henry? Good Lord.
Oh, hi, Uncle Marty.
Don't hi, Uncle Marty me. You're too old for imaginary friends. Job security? You're the most expendable employee I ever had.
Thanks. Nice to know.
Were you taking a break again?
No, I was just going to make sure the equipment is working in elevator 2.
Why? Has there been a problem? Those recording devices are more reliable than you. Got them on clearance at Radio Shack before they went out of business. So, no more lounging around, okay?
I wasn't lounging exactly.
If I say you were, you were. Who pays your salary?
The company, I think. And it hardly even covers my rent.
You're lucky to get what you get. I mean, what is the proper amount for a total slacker? Always talking to himself. You know, sometimes I wonder if there's a screw or two loose in that green noggin of yours that needs tightening.
Uncle Marty, you make me sound like an android.
An android? You haven't been drinking, have you? The last guy used the extendable ladder for the lobby chandelier. Did his own self-portrait. 2 stories high when he was 3 sheets to the wind, and it took 4 coats to cover it up. The North Side Detective Agency does not tolerate drunks.
No, I only drink Coke, and only one at a time. Honest.
Huh? Better men have succumbed. Takes an iron will. How you will ever make a real detective, I sure don't know.
Real like, excuse me, real like you mean?
Ouch! Yeah, hey, I am real. That way you can do worse for a role model. Try focusing, really concentrating for a change. Like this. No. You need to keep your cards close to your chest. Give nothing away. I can read you like a book.
A book?
Yep, and not a very well written one at that. Here, try again.
I think this could be an Olympic event.
An international tournament. Detectives with Belgian accents running around with magnifying glasses. Oh.
Working their little gray cells. I'm sure that would contribute to world peace.
Yeah, they're going to put you in a little gray cell if it wasn't for your mother, my dear sister, who paid my tuition for junior college.
She did the same for me.
Did she? Oh, what the heck? Anything new to report?
Not exactly, no. Life just goes on with the same uniformity, each day the same as the last, as if the universe was too bored to support any progress in anything. But then I haven't had a chance to create a case map yet, so...
Case map? Universe? You can't even find your way around the lobby. What's that you're holding?
Oh, this is just some of my notes, not organized yet.
I said, hand it over.
No, not right now. My handwriting is terrible, but I promise you, as soon as I have a chance to type them up. But in the meantime, I'll stay on my toes.
You can stand on your head for all I care. Just make sure those recording devices are working and ready to go.
But I thought you said before... Yes, Uncle Marty. But if you just let the devices run all the time, I'm not sure you would even need me.
Yes, wondered that myself.
I'm doing the best I can.
That's what I'm afraid of. Just don't let me down. Okay?
Marty glares at him and leaves the building. Henry starts back into his office, but he sees Amy and stops, immediately smitten and foolish looking to boot. I said foolish. I don't think you've totally lost your mind.
Oh, sorry.
Or what? Why do you always keep apologizing when you see me? I mean, a simple hello would suffice. So you still working in this building?
Well, I guess that's a matter of opinion.
Huh? You are the person I talked to last week, aren't you?
Yes, still me as far as I can tell. Why, were you hoping for someone else? Like a hero in some story?
No.
And are you still you?
As far as I can tell. How do you have that established?
Yeah, so am I. I mean that you're me and I'm you. I mean... Oh!
Ah!
Sorry, I'm not very good at reading social cues. That's why Marty always says...
Marty?
I mean, my uncle, always lecturing me and going on about that'll never really make a very good... I mean, that'll never really be any...
Sorry. There's something I wanted to ask you.
Yes, anything.
Do you know my grandma well?
Your grandma, not exactly. She seems very friendly, though.
She is. My father used to say she was Meshuggah.
Huh?
A bit kooky. A few dramas short of the complete Netflix account. But, I don't really think so. It's just, she's been through a lot, you see. And she used to take care of me when I was little. I mean, I basically lived with her for years.
Parents going through divorce?
Yeah, how did you know?
Oh, it happened to my parents, too.
Yeah. Well, so I bring her groceries from, now and then for her and her cat. Or cook for her when she's not feeling well.
That's very nice of you, but...
Are you about to say how come I'm doing that when I'm the one walking with a cane?
No, I wasn't.
Because I'm about 50 years younger than she is.
Of course,
and she can be sort of frail sometimes.
Frail, she seems stronger
And I
than
do just fine, thank you very much.
I understand.
Do you really?
Yes, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to upset you.
No, I'm sorry. Henry, I was only teasing.
I guess we're both just meant to keep apologizing to each other. My friends, back when I had some in high school, they used to call me Rocket Man. I guess because I've always liked science fiction.
That would explain.
What?
Oh, nothing. I've read the classics myself. Asimov, Arthur C. Clarke.
Really? Gosh, I don't believe it.
Yeah, what? Why? Because, girls don't like science and aren't good at it either?
No, I didn't mean...
Oh, come on, stop. I was only kidding again. Well, mostly. I could bring you one of my favorites next time. Lem's Robot Stories. Oh, okay. So the robots create a machine that can make anything starting with each letter of the alphabet. So it works fine until they get to the letter N and realize it's about to produce mass nothingness. Right.
I'd like to see that one.
Then maybe you'll let me see what you're working on. I mean what you're reading. I'm here, Tuesday and Thursday mornings and Saturday mornings. I'll look for you in a couple of days.
Okay, sure, great. I'll keep an ear out for you. I mean, an eye out for you too.
You too.
Yeah, I don't usually need a robot in my universe to mess things up for me, but maybe things have changed.
Henry goes back into his office.
Oh, I should take up the transcript for Marty. Gosh darn it, where did I put my transcript notes again?
But of course, instead, he picks up his pen and starts to write.
Oh, what the heck. Still exhausted from the night before, the Dream Keeper had nearly sleptwalked down the long corridor to his workroom. He took out his identity card, had his thumbprint scanned, his retina scanned,
and a full body scan before he was allowed through the first set of doors, and then went through the same routine again before finally reaching the inner laboratories where he worked. He brewed himself a pot of jasmine tea from an old crate he'd found abandoned in an alley, and settled himself down to watch. That night, there were only dreams that would make his superiors glad.
They all seemed to float in the same confident brew of images, as if steeping in the same pot, the perfect future, the perfect world. And they almost started to look more and more like each other, as if cloned from the same source.
For the unseen were determined to eradicate diversity. To confront a universe of endless change, they had recommended an immutable sameness.
It would only take 3 or 4 generations, but that was their dream, from which there would be no going back to anything.
Yes, everything was just honky-dory, as they used to say in the early part of the 20th century. But then...
Case 29523, an undefined room. A skylight that's almost like water.
It's raining.
The walls are sweating like tears. A sparrow perches on a porcelain teacup painted with a geranium that in turn rests upon a wooden crate that displays an antique image of peaches. The sparrow morphs into a medium-sized mongrel dog, fur all matted and sticking out as if it had got caught in the storm. It looks up at the skylight.
Dark eyes glistening.
The crate becomes a staircase, and as the dog climbs, it becomes smaller and smaller animals, and at the top turns back into a sparrow and flaps up the last step. It tries to fly out the skylight, but flutters back down to the ground, nursing its wings. A man is standing pensively at a window in the corner, dark eyes glistening, listening to the rain.
Then, as he was trained to do, David remembered.
This same dreamer dreamed the other night of a cornfield, the kind that has not been grown in the open in years. Under a bright sun, a giant harvester, the kind that also no longer existed, came down the rows driven by a boy of about 10, who was smiling and jaunty at the wheel.
Now, if this was a movie, the camera would pan wide and we would see that Holly had been there all the time.
So what should I do with this file? Is there something to be concerned about, given the image of confinement in the first dream and premature mastery over a world that no longer exists in the second? Some nights I almost feel as if I'm trying to read tea leaves. I could go on forever trying to make sense of it all. Hand me that book, will you?
Gaston Bachelard's Poetics of Space? It looks like you taped this copy back together.
Yes. He also writes about dreams, It's very old. Space contains time compressed. Yes, all of life in a single enclosed room, like mine. The things I'll never be able to do, trapped journeying only within the dreams of others. And now that one?
Le Dictionnaire des Symboles?
Yes, read me the epigraph, will you?
A metaphor is like a portal to another world, an interstellar drive crossing divides.
See, that's just it. I have no other way to get to other worlds.
No, maybe not just yet. But then dreams have helped the two of us to cross the divide, haven't they? Otherwise, we may never have met.
Maybe. Case 27118. Nothing changed from the last time monitored. Still manifesting dreams of being in charge of a series of high-level offices. This is the kind of perfect dream the elders would prefer by a young man clearly earmarked to go far.
Outside the window of this dream, twin suns blazing in the purple sky. People moving in orderly fashion from one silver building to another, each burnished steel tower like a knife cutting into the heavens, dividing the world carefully up into smaller and smaller pieces, orderly, pristine, perfect.
They're busy building defensive shields at the edge of the city. Safety, security, and strength, and confidence in their mission. See, this dreamer at least is completely content with the idea of his future. No misgivings, completely at home. Somehow it almost makes me feel worse.
Does it? Makes me like you more for it. What about this one? I'm soaring over the ground. No need of any kind of transportation. It's kind of fun. How effortless. Below, I see a vast city. It seems to be made of crystal rather than steel. Domes of all kinds, like little seed pods that also seem to hover slightly above the ground. Even the people walking between them don't seem anchored to anything. Nothing holds them down.
And yet, you can feel it. They still don't feel as if they're free.
Should she be questioning that?
No, but then you shouldn't be listening in either. And you never have needed the monitor, have you? You must be a natural empath yourself, though I can't always tell what you're thinking, as if you have a shield or a wall up and there's no way through.
You're one to talk about walls. At least I was accurate about what that dreamer felt, wasn't I? But I don't want her to be hurt. How can anyone be an empath and not have empathy?
I warned you. As soon as you become a part of it, there's a danger in starting to care too much.
Yes, a danger of being caught, of being held in thrall.
What does that mean?
Like in that old poem. What does ail thee, knight at arms, alone and palely loitering? The sedge has withered from the lake, and no birds sing. John Keats.
What did ail him?
La belle dame sans merci, the beautiful lady without mercy. She has him in thrall. So be careful.
Yes, I suppose I should be. But then you should be careful too.
In the 2 weeks since he had first met her, David had started looking forward more and more to Holly joining him at his work. And when she is not there, he misses her, though he hasn't yet admitted that to himself. Companionship of any kind was something he had to get used to, bit by bit.
Where did you come across the writings of John Keats? I don't imagine you were ever allowed to go to school.
So you think because I'm a cleaner, it was decided early on that I had no potential, that I wasn't very smart.
I didn't say that.
When I'm working, people don't seem to see me. And they talk about all kinds of things as if I don't even exist.
Do they? It would come in handy if you were a spy. I was never allowed to learn about topics like vampires when I was a child.
Well, you're not a child anymore, if you ever really were. I have heard there used to be places called public libraries where anyone could get a book almost any time.
Most libraries were destroyed when the unseen took power. So how were you educated? What makes you so perceptive and sharp?
I never said I was that either. Stop putting words in my mouth.
First you were upset because you thought I was implying you were stupid, and now you don't want me to say you're smart?
Maybe I'm just naturally intelligent.
Yes, maybe too much so. I've known you for 2 weeks now, and I still don't know if I can trust you.
Oh, back to that again. I could ask you the same thing.
We could both be in trouble already for talking to each other.
Why? I saw that you have your monitor set to a preset loop so no one is watching you in real time.
Yes, and that is another thing. You couldn't possibly have the technological skill to know that.
Again, because I'm a woman.
No one gets that kind of training except the elite, and people like me who are needed for essential things no one else wants to do. But you, I am beginning to think, are not the slightest what you seem. You are very dangerous.
Am I? Interesting. I think I like that.
Yes, I bet you do.
Well, all right. I confess. I did read about it in a book.
Technology.
No, vampires. My great-grandmother had been a teacher, and there were still some old books hidden away in a crawl space at the top of our house. The house had been condemned, but no one ever bothered to actually knock it down, just left it completely boarded up. But my father found a way back in.
Your father?
Yes, before he died. They took him and my mother away about a year later, and I never saw them again.
How do you know they're dead then?
I just do. I could feel it.
At least you knew your parents loved you. My mother, she turned me over when I was very young. I imagine she was paid some kind of compensation, though my father may have pushed for it.
Well, at that point, you were at least worth something.
Thanks a lot. Will you tell me more about some of the books you've read? That is, if we ever happen to see each other again.
You want me around, even if I am dangerous?
You know what they say. Best to keep your enemies where you can see them.
I am starting to prefer the night shift.
For the company?
No, for the tea. Don't know where else I could get that these days. But couldn't you just monitor dreams during the day, since the sleepers are asleep all the time?
Better to observe at night when their REM cycles are longer and more intense.
But when do you have time to sleep or dream your own dreams then?
I told you, I don't dream much myself. Maybe I'm just too overstimulated with the dreams of others, so my psyche has no room to play out the tensions, fears, desires of my own being.
That in itself could be dangerous.
Does that make me more interesting?
Maybe. Maybe not.
Sometimes I awaken with a sense of vast open space, unpeopled, dimly lit, with only one dominant shade or color, slate blue or chalky gray, but still somehow harsh and foreboding, less often soft and beckoning.
How about the day you met me?
Maybe a bit of both. Mostly I end up exhausted, as if I hadn't slept at all. Perhaps there's a part of me afraid to sleep, because dreams often frighten me. They're like unrailed corridors into endless nothingness, leading nowhere, and I'm constantly in danger of falling forever, like a spacewalker, untethered in the ether.
You just said you were taken from your parents when you were young.
Not taken, given away. That makes it worse.
Maybe that is what you are afraid to dream about? I just know that when I dream, I'm always hoping to get someplace magical. Somewhere I won't be afraid to dream when I'm awake and feel that I have the right to.
Does sound like a fantasy, a dream about a dream.
But maybe it doesn't have to be. We all have our own paths to follow. Sometimes we choose them, sometimes they choose us, but the thing is to make that path our own. Anyway, for your information, reading books isn't the same as eavesdropping unasked on other people's lives. Writers want people to read what they wrote so they can live on long after they're gone.
But they don't really live on, not unless they donate their DNA.
In the olden days, that meant getting married.
No, not as efficient. If it was, you and I wouldn't be the way we are, outcasts. I myself am not allowed to marry or have children, not part of my job description. Nature itself is now seen as unnatural.
No, we have been conditioned to believe that, but there are other ways to live on, too. Through ideas you leave behind, or in making a difference so others have more choices.
Perhaps, but again, a very risky thing to think, let alone say. Another dream is coming on the viewer.
Can I try to describe this one for you? The dreamer is a woman.
Sure, your choice. Even if I didn't want you to, it hasn't stopped you yet.
No, it hasn't. The rocket is rising into the amber light of morning, as if soaring toward eternity, moving away infinitely slowly, like Zeno's arrow from the Earth, as if it's become frozen in time and space. At least that's the way it feels to this woman who's piloting the rocket toward the stars. 1 second there was the Earth, and the next, everything seemed so still. And although she's been thoroughly trained to recognize the disconcerting effect of the interstellar drive, all the same that the pilot is still somehow taken by surprise and wondering if she's actually going back in time. The panic is rising inside her. What if she's going too far? She could enter the realm before her birth and would disappear altogether. But then, sudden relief. The rocket is emerging into a different quadrant, and the light is taking on a subdued but warmer cast, like the sun has just set on a bright summer day. And she's in a new place, that yet also reminds her of home. Standing by a lake that still holds onto its blue, even far into the darkness. A stubborn determination. A memory, a dream of what once was.
But what did it matter if it was of the past?
It was so beautiful and pointed to a different kind of future.
And she knew she had done it. She'd broken out of her old orbit and left the Milky Way far behind.
She was at the controls. The universe was open to her, whatever blue realms she could yet discover.
And there was nothing to stop her now.
I wonder, if she had her choice, would she stay on that planet that reminded her of home?
Well, this dreamer was an orphan in real life, like us, so she never really had a home.
No, except maybe one she could find or make in her dream.
But how could she have broken free and yet return back to where she started?
Another paradox, I suppose.
Like our dreams, just a piece of our reality spun in another form.
But I still want to know, what is going to happen to that pilot?
How should I know? That's all I wrote of that part. Sometimes I even dream about the Dreamkeeper at night. Maybe that's where this story started.
Sometimes it's like I'm going so far back in time, I see the face of a young man in a small room in the 21st century. I know, again, I'm breaking the rules.
He looks so worried.
He seems so unsure of himself.
A kind of soulmate.
Previous self, if you believe in that sort of thing, like reincarnation?
Like a future incarnation? What do you believe in?
Well,
I believe in more of the possibilities of nature than that of machines.
I believe we can have many selves during a lifetime if we learn it all.
not like I can do anything for him 3 centuries back.
Not like I can help him in the future.
Well, even if you are the author of his life?
Best to be the author of your own life, don't you think?
Retro deja vu, one of the taboos of the unseen.
A reverse form of genealogy, tracing oneself forward.
We can only influence the things we're willing to confront now.
By what we do now, yes. Real hope for the future.
Despite any slippage of time, despite all times being one time.
Sometimes I think of the space-time continuum with all the curveballs it throws our way, like a banana peel that God left to have a good laugh.
I can't fall back on the past.
I can't fall forward except on my face.
But who knows, since space and time are really the same skein of cloth.
Who knows where past and present overlap?
You could have at least given the pilot in her dream a traveling companion.
Well, David met Holly. Isn't that enough? Not everyone can have someone. See, this is why I didn't want to tell you I was writing something.
But I had already figured it out. I read some of the papers you were carrying.
Did you? Well, fine. I'm letting you read it. That doesn't mean I have to change the story for you, does it?
But what if What if when that pilot reaches that place that seems like home, there's someone standing next to her, holding her hand, looking at that blue lake? Would that be so bad? Even if at that moment we can't see his face.
It wouldn't be much of a story, would it? If everyone always has something good to goad them on.
Why not? They don't stand much of a chance otherwise, do they? Any more than that pilot in that ship. I think it's a cruel story. She must be very lonely.
The pilot or Holly?
Both, I suppose.
Amy, are you lonely?
What makes you ask me that?
I don't think I was myself until now.
Why? You can always keep company with the characters you create.
Very funny. But maybe that's why I write them, to feel less all by myself. But before, for me, each day was the same as the last. But now I want
Yes?
to see you again.
No, I'm not sure I believe you. You're too good at making things up.
No, you just snooped on me and figured it out. Are you going to be around this coming Saturday like usual?
I should be. Unless I travel slower on the space-time continuum.
Then, is it kind of a date? Even though we just stay here, I have to because of work.
Sure. Yeah, I think I'd like that.
Or do you just want to hear more of the story?
Maybe both. Is that so bad?
No, I suppose not.
Your writing could be more attractive than you realize.
And you may just be more beautiful than you realize, too.
No, I'm not much to look at.
I think you are.
Do you?
Uh-huh.
Marty, who has just come into the lobby, sees Amy leave and then goes to Henry's office.
Oh, did I really just say that to her? Hi, Amy. Marty, I didn't see you there.
Yeah, that's what we want in our detectives. The inability to see someone standing right in front of them. Who was that girl, Henry?
Marty?
Henry.
Marty.
I heard you're talking to the tenants. Now I know it's true.
What tipped you off?
I'm a detective. I keep my ear close to the railroad tracks.
That sounds a bit risky.
I'm asking you again. Who is she?
How should I know? She just keeps complaining about the light bulbs going out in the elevator.
And that's all she wants? You haven't told her what you're really doing here.
About our work? Are you crazy? Of course not.
Never fraternize with the enemy. She could be extremely dangerous.
To me, all women are dangerous. But Amy, that girl that I don't even know.
You have to be wary of anyone coming in or out of this building.
Even you?
Except me. I'm the only friend you've got in the world. Don't ever forget it. That is, if you plan to keep working for Sunny Security Services.
I thought we were the North Star Detective Agency now.
Oh, right. We are. That was our old name before we decided to beef up our image. And that is why, especially now, we need the best men we can find. What was the last job you had again? Maybe you can go back to that.
As a cafe tester? I don't think so. Do you know how many blueberry muffins I once had to eat in a single morning just to make sure there's not too many blueberries in each one. And anyway, that chain went out of business after I gave them a top rating. Who knew you could get salmonella from a muffin anyway?
Listen, kid, you've got potential. I really think you do. You can be smart now and then. You keep your fingernails clean, but if you would just stop wasting time writing those stupid stories.
I bite my nails and the stories aren't stupid. Wait, you knew I was writing them too?
Of course I did. I need to be aware of the parameters of any scenario I might be part of, even if the narrator chooses to keep me out of the picture.
You have that problem too? But anyway, I can't stop writing. It's just too important to me. And even you, Uncle Marty, can't stop me.
Hey, kid, that is exactly the kind of thing I'm talking about. Good. Maybe a slight start. Buck up, show some spine. You just need some more confidence. Hard to believe I was once more like you, but not anymore. I got wise, see? And I don't plan to work for Sonny forever.
No?
No. Someday and someday soon, I'm gonna branch out on my own, and I might just need a savvy second in command. Know what I mean? So no more talking to the tenants, okay? Or I'll have to bust your ass. And you can't just wander around the building whenever you feel like it, unless it's for your work.
I know, but don't you ever get curious about all the people that...
Kid, listen. Rule number 1, never care about the people. Okay?
Okay, sure, but...
Just don't. And number 2, don't write on the job. Dashiell Hammett might have been a Pinkerton before he was a novelist, but at least he didn't write when he was out on a stakeout. And rule number 3, don't forget to type up your reports and email them to me each morning.
I do, yeah, but they're always the same.
The slightest shift in routine, the tiniest detail can lead to seeing things in a whole new way. You know, what they call the big picture.
You mean the gestalt?
What? Yeah, the gestalt. I think we're almost ready to crack this case wide open.
Yeah, I think something's about to crack.
What did you say?
I said, I'll see you when you get back.
Not if I see you first like this time, then you'll be out of here. But hey, we would miss you, kid. You're such a glorious nebbish, a complete nondescript.
Thanks, I think.
That is the beauty of it.
We all have our skills.
As long as you stop talking to that girl.
Beautiful dreamer, awake unto me. Starlight and dewdrops are waiting for thee.
Dreams to sell, fine dreams to sell. Angus is here with dreams to sell. Hush, my dear baby, and sleep without fear. Dream Angus has brought you a dream, my dear.
Once in a blue moon, you will meet the right one. Once in a blue moon, find your dear delight one. Then with a thrill, you know that
People on the planet have been sleeping for 1,000 years. In that time, 4,000 seasons had changed.
Some species died out, new ones began to emerge.
Distant stars collapsed into black holes. Other stars were born.
And still they slept on, dreaming the dreams of centuries.
Working out the small fears and larger terrors of their early years.
And then, one day, they awakened, like Rip Van Winkle, or a person who'd been in a coma long lost to the world.
Or someone set free from a life sentence for a crime they didn't commit.
And there was a new world, almost a new universe.
The skein of time was all anew.
And yet, time itself was the same, cruel and demanding and insistent, like someone who could never be satisfied with the way things are.
Smug, callous time, brat of the universe, who sooner or later destroys all plans and dreams.
What were they to do? No one they had known in their early lives was still alive anymore, and yet everything was still expected of them. Would they be able to make the most of it, or feel daunted and overwhelmed and only want to go back to sleep, or become murderers in a frenzy, destroying everything they were supposed to create and sustain? Anyway, those were two projections of what might happen. The second, the worst nightmare of the unseen.
Do you think either of those scenarios is likely to come true?
I don't know. I just have to try to make my judgments rationally, objectively, based on evidence within the parameters I'm given. But lately, I'm even more hesitant to pull the plug, as it were, on any of the dreamers.
Why? What happened?
Last year, I reported a wayward dreamer. His dreams were deeply rebellious, almost subversive, you might say. I had no choice but to report it. All the same, I didn't want to be responsible for making him re-enter the stream of time before he'd had a chance to realize the future that was his. Because of faulty dreams, how completely lost would he be?
You were only doing what you were supposed to do.
Yes, I suppose so.
And if you hadn't, what could happen to you?
What punishment would be enough for someone who betrayed the future? At least I'd lose my job, my little room, probably any means of surviving. Or they would assign me to one of the underground garbage dumps.
You'd be like me.
Worse.
Oh, I didn't think that was possible.
But maybe I should have taken the chance. It certainly seemed so when I received a visitor 6 months later.
Was it an agent of the unseen? Had they guessed you were thinking of hiding negative assessments?
I never said I was, or did. Anyway, it was someone else.
Who?
The young man I had reported. He had grown into an almost godlike stature, tall, well-built as was expected of him. His profile pictures showed also that he had blue eyes of the most brilliant azure color with a glint of gold at the edges. But the man who appeared pounding on my door late one night, I didn't recognize him at all. And he was holding a weapon in his left hand.
Open up, or I'll break this door, damn you.
I looked through the security camera. What do you want? I asked.
Don't you know who I am?
He demanded. His eyes were blue, but cold and sharp, with the brilliance all turned inward. You could have cut glass with his gaze. And the shadows that had hold of him made him seem more dead than alive. A heavy lump of fear congealed around my heart. I don't know you.
Look more closely.
So I did. And I realized who he was. And I opened the door. He raised a weapon and pointed it at my chest.
Yes, I can see now that you know.
I was only doing my job, I said quietly. I had no choice.
There are always choices. Except for me, I have nowhere to go, nowhere to sleep except for the street. The unseen, they still send me scraps now and then, just enough to survive, because they want me to suffer, to be an example of what happens to those who disappoint them, who betray the future. But I'm not going to let them have the satisfaction. I'm going to kill you, and then I'm going to kill myself.
No doubt I may deserve it, but your dreams threatened them. A completely different set of possibilities than they had in mind.
Oh.
Yes, a world with far less emphasis on status and levels and more on connections and hope, so much so that there was no way for me to hide them.
What kind of universe condemns someone for their dreams? And now what do I have? No future and no past, except now when I sleep, I have no dreams at all.
I am so very sorry.
You are going to pay.
But only let me say this to you, and then you can do what you want.
Why should I listen?
I don't know. But I did spend years monitoring you before I made that report. You can at least give me 5 minutes?
I'll give you 2.
Very well. When I read your dreams, you were in stasis, not able to take any action whatsoever, imprisoned by that endless present of sleep, and your future indentured to the whims of the unseen, because who knows what will really happen when the dreamers awaken, whether those elaborate plans made so long ago by the unseen will really come true, or how many of the sleepers they'll be willing to sacrifice to make them happen. You had the possibility of a future, yes, but no guarantee of whether it would be a good one. Now you are free of that fettered future. You are alive in this present. You have the gift of a second chance. Don't throw away what you still might have, what you might plan and make for yourself. Make the most of each moment, please, and live.
So what did he do?
He hesitated a long moment. Then he slowly lowered his weapon.
Good.
Yes, that's good. He looked at me and he began to cry. And I took him in my arms and hugged him, like this. He stepped away and sighed the saddest sigh I have ever heard, of a man who has lost everything, and yet for whom anything might still be possible. His eyes began to gain some softness and depth, and he handed me the weapon. And then he said,
I can't believe what I almost did. Why did you open the door when you saw I had a weapon?
Yes, why did you?
I thought I owed you that much at least to stand face to face.
But how did you know I wouldn't kill you? You're very brave.
No, I don't think I'm brave at all. You forget I knew your dreams.
Yes, I suppose you did.
And he smiled, turned, and quickly disappeared back into the uncertain night. I looked up and down the street, no one, and I quietly closed the door.
Did you ever see him again?
No, never.
Eyes of the palest blue, with a hint of gold at the edges.
Yes. Why do you ask?
Oh, no good reason. Just not very common, that's all.
No. No, it is not.
Henry went out in the lobby to stretch his legs. But we know why he's there, don't we? He's pretending to contemplate the long, narrow filaments of the modernist chandelier that's suspended above the atrium. He was glad it wasn't his job to change those lights. Just using the step stool to reach the elevator ceiling made him dizzy.
Ooh, yeah, I wouldn't make a very good astronaut.
Why? Are you thinking of becoming one, young man?
What?
I asked, are you all right?
Yes, I'm fine.
Have you seen any strange birds around in the buildings lately?
Huh? Can't say that I have. I know that sparrows cluster in the trees on the sides of the buildings. They can be very noisy in the morning.
Yes, but not what I meant at all.
I see.
Not sure you'll do, young man, but never mind. How are things going today?
Fine, thanks. I've been a bit tired from working the night shift last week, and I think I drank too much Coke. So now I'm exhausted and hyper at the same time. But otherwise, well, my left kneecap has been rather sore. I must have banged it on a table leg.
That's interesting. You should be more careful. I have arthritis myself. Listen, I have to ask you something.
I really should get back to work.
This will only take a second. I live in that wing there. You don't live in that wing?
No, I don't. I told you before, I work here.
Yes, I know, but some of the janitors have apartments here too. And I just thought, because I've seen you in the lobby a lot lately.
Look, I don't live here.
Fine, all the better then, maybe, if you are not one of them. You are not, are you? One of them?
Who? No, how could I be?
Of course, I didn't think so. I am usually a good judge of character. Have you ever, I mean, this is kind of embarrassing, but have you ever heard a strange noise in this building late at night?
A strange noise?
Yeah, sort of like this. Grunk, grunk, grunk. Ding, ding, ding. Grunk, grunk, grunk. It has gotten so bad I can hardly sleep anymore.
It's not coming from the elevator, is it?
No, of course not. From the apartment below me. I live all the way at the end of the hall, not anywhere near the elevator. I told you, I'm in the corner unit there, you see. Do you have a problem with focusing on things?
Uh-huh. I mean, no, I don't.
I had many students like you. Incredibly difficult to teach things like the Constitution. Worse, maybe even than some of our congressmen. But it is just a matter of discipline and perseverance and not giving up.
I suppose you're right.
Of course I am. About this noise, too. Well, someone has to do something. It is really terrible. My relatives in Building 7, they think I'm just a crazy old widow driven over the bend by grief. Well, they are in-laws on the other side of the family. You don't think I'm crazy, do you?
No, actually. Well,
Well,
of course I don't, but
I think they just want to move me out so they can sell my apartment.
do they?
But I am not going. I'm not. I want you to come over one night at, say, 1 a.m. and just listen.
At 1 a.m.?
That really so terribly hard to listen to what someone else is saying for a change? Just to listen to another human being.
You don't know the half of it.
What?
Never mind.
I bet if you had a girlfriend, she would tell you that all the time.
Well, I did meet someone recently, but
Have you? Too bad. I was thinking of introducing you to my granddaughter Amy sometime. She's a bit stubborn, but you might like her. You are not great shakes yourself, so.
actually, the funny thing is,
You shouldn't be expecting too much.
well, I'm not, but I'm trying to say, to tell you that.
Don't have to explain anything. I understand it all. Just don't set your sights too high with this new girl, whoever she is. You will only be disappointed. Anyway, I don't let my granddaughter date every man in the world, you know. So it is just as well. We must be careful about these things.
Yes, I suppose you're right.
Of course I am. Will you come then?
Where?
To my apartment. You didn't go very far in school, did you? Never mind. You seem sincere enough. Next Wednesday night at 1 a.m. That is when I will be expecting you. Just knock on my door like this.
Like this?
Yes, good. You finally got something right.
Sorry, it's my boss. I better.
Henry, are you on your toes like you promised?
Yes, Uncle Marty, I am.
Good. Just checking, my dear boy. Otherwise, I'll have to buy you a pair of elevator shoes. Got it?
Yes, Uncle Marty, very funny.
Oh, nothing to report?
No, Uncle Marty.
Why do I not trust implicitly what you say?
Maybe trust issues when you were a child? I heard that Mom used to play practical jokes on you all the time. You know, put salt in your sugar bowl, or ice cubes in your bubble bath.
No, I catatomically don't remember such goings on.
Maybe blocked it out? That she even once stole your little rubber duck and replaced it with a small iridescent shark, and you were terrified and ran around the house naked until she could calm you down.
Slanderous, lies, deceit. I had a towel. She told you all that?
Well, not really. I heard her bragging to one of her friends about it one time over tea and, well, brandy. They were giggling their heads off.
I see. So you can eavesdrop on your own mother to dig up dirt swept under the rug long ago about me, but you can't call on the carpet a couple of drug dealers right under your own nose. Listen, if you do see them, you better have them under lock and key, because if I hear that you let them get away, I will be very upset indeed.
Mom must have treated you really bad.
You don't know the half of it. But then she did toughen me up, and I intend to return the favor to you. So buck up, keep your eyes peeled, and call 911 if you need to, okay?
Yes, sir, but I can't do that if I'm talking to you, can I? So if you don't mind, I'd like to get back to work.
Oh, just go and do something right for a change.
Oh, hi. I was just talking to your grandma.
My grandma?
I hope that's okay.
Well, I mean, it's a free lobby. Were you waiting for me?
Yeah.
For how long?
Oh, I don't know. About 27 years.
How old are you?
27. I was very precocious as a child.
Yeah. And writing stories too? Here, let me see what you're reading. Those Who Walk Away from Amelas.
It's a short story by Ursula Le Guin about people who protest a utopian but cruel society by leaving it. Le Guin died just a few months ago. I wish I had had a chance to meet her. She was amazing. But then her future will live into our futures, and I think that's pretty cool.
You know, truth is, reality in the present can be strange and challenging enough. Every day the future waits around the corner to surprise us, and it's only moments away.
You're absolutely right. But
when I was younger, I was in fairies and goblins and dragons phase, and for a while I was really big into Tamora Pierce. You know, the girl who wants to become a knight. Oh, but then I got back into school.
what are you studying?
You're gonna think I'm crazy.
No, I won't. Try me.
Okay. Well, I'm doing my BA in the history of dance.
Well, I think that's really cool.
Yeah, well, you should have seen the look on the other graduate students' faces when I gave my last presentation. He looked at me like I was from outer space. Well, I looked at him like he was an inferior creature.
He was.
Not really, just ignorant. He had the nerve to tell my professor I should switch to something else because dance has to be understood with the body. And how dare I try to tell someone how to find their balancing point in the world? Well, my professor told him to stuff it.
Good for her.
Henry and Amy go back into his office.
So, are you going to show me what you've written since last time?
Sorry, I don't have any popcorn, but would you like some chocolate?
No, maybe later.
I don't share it with everyone.
I bet you don't. Yes. It's kind of starting to grow on me, bit by bit, despite its oddities and quirks.
I was going to study writing in school, but I couldn't afford it.
It doesn't matter. Just keep at it.
You think I should?
If you really want something, if it's really important, don't give up on your dreams. Okay?
Okay, I won't.
Now, hand me some chocolate. Shut up. And let me read.
Dreamer 278333. In this dream, a feeling of profound isolation, hiking the foothills near the edge of an abandoned town. I ascend over scrub ground, avoiding broken bits of barbed wire fence, skirting the overgrown half-hidden holes of abandoned mine shafts. But I don't slow down. I need to get away.
A lifeless landscape, the bare bones of a once organic form.
Behind me, the ruins of houses. In front of me, a storm cloud, becoming more and more visible the higher I go, until this cloud, it fills the entire horizon, looming over me as I climb over a ridge to the top of a plateau.
In the distance, ghostly mountains higher still. Within their folds, that iridescent green of human cataclysm, with no hint of the sublime. Nuclear fallout lingering from the last terrible war.
Yes, and far down below to one side, an abandoned highway. I can just make out the wrecks of ancient vehicles sticking up out of the grass. Next to the road, a fallow field that has not been planted in centuries. A broken horse carriage, a wagon wheel, even more antique than the cars that yet likely used more recently.
A dry riverbed filled with plastic and debris, winding toward the horizon, garishly colorful and horrifying and bleak.
The storm cloud is ominous. It won't let go of the hills.
It seems to grow larger as it shifts in tone from gray to purple rimmed with indigo.
I have to go back before it's too late. But the path behind me is now blocked by a steep slope that wasn't there before.
All tumbled rock and sheer walls.
Is there really no way out? Turn around to face the growing storm.
What are you supposed to make of this? So much longing for human contact and something vital that may never ever be again. Why do they have such dreams, such a need to escape?
I don't know.
These sleepers never saw the old wars, never lived through them. A collective tragedy so traumatic they can't help remembering it, even if they didn't experience it themselves. How does it end up haunting them like this?
That is the mystery. But then it is also their legacy.
Can't you give them some kind of relief?
Sometimes the dreams sort themselves out and they find peace.
And if they don't? You could just wake them up.
What, you mean this one? Set him free?
No, I mean all of them.
Oh, you can't be serious.
What if I am?
Then you are far more dangerous than I ever could have imagined.
I just don't like to see them suffering, tortured by endless nightmares in an endless sleep. What good will they be as leaders, as a vanguard after that?
It's true, they've been asleep longer than originally planned, but...
What if the intention is just to leave them sleeping forever?
No, that can't be true.
But what if I were to tell you that there was never a plan for a better civilization? This was always just a way to sideline anyone with imagination. That the unseen felt safer that way, pretending to prepare a brighter future, to give us hope so we could be controlled. Not just the dreamers, but all of us left sleepwalking with no possibility of ever realizing anything.
I don't believe they would be so cruel to waste so much energy and youth. No, that just can't be.
Think about it. We can't just throw away the entire past because the better ideals were not realized. And we can't live in an idealized and totally unrealizable future.
Maybe that's true, but...
We have to work to make things better, step by step, in the present. It won't be easy, but there can still be joy, life, light, and you can make it happen. if you set all the dreamers free and give them a chance for some say over their own futures, rather than being controlled as they have been all along.
But I'm not even sure it's possible. I would have to override all the backup systems. They would see what I'm doing.
Not if I help you. Most of the monitoring systems for their physical well-being have been cut back to save money to put into defense. In the long run, there will not be much left to sustain them anyway.
But how could you know that? Or how to work around the systems that are in place? Who are you really?
Does it really matter?
Yes. Isn't that what you asked me when we first met? And now I'm asking you, why have you come here to cause me to doubt everything I'm doing? Just answer the question.
All right. I am the youngest and last remaining granddaughter of one of the generals of the old ways. His pleas for compassion and peace were ignored, and so he was demoted and shamed.
Oh, so you are a spy. For the unseen? Did they send you here to sabotage my work, to recoup your family name?
No, they didn't. They did offer my family redemption if I were to become one of the dreamers too. But when my grandfather researched what was really behind it and refused, they killed him before he could do anything except to tell my parents.
And now?
And now I've come to tell you.
But why me? Why here? You could have gone to any of the other dreamer pods in any other city. Unless, yes, you must have thought I would be an easy mark.
No, not at all. It was because, David, you are the only one left.
I don't know what you mean.
All the other pods have been shut down. The dreamers abandoned to drift away and die in their sleep. You are the last dream keeper.
No, you're only trying to confuse me so you can manipulate me even more, pretending you care, pretending you're an orphan when you're not.
No, my parents were hunted down and executed too. I was hidden and raised by some family friends. Deep down, you already knew what I'm saying to you is true.
That I'm the last one left. That the dreamers in my charge are the last chance too.
Yes, it's why you've been feeling the burden more and more, and why you have to awaken them now. It's what their dreams are telling you to do, not just for them, but for yourself.
But even if it were possible to set them all free, what guarantee is there that they would be able to seek out the light?
They would, if they knew it was possible.
As long as they sleep, there is the hope of something better.
As long as they're imprisoned in sleep, there's no real future. Something has to be done.
We can't control their dreams any better when they're awake.
No, but we can open their eyes to see that empathy and respect for difference is not a form of weakness. That it is the only way for the survival of everyone. What we dream needs to come from our better selves, not a perfect self. There's no such thing. Dreams must be allowed to grow naturally toward the light.
No, you are the one who's lost in dreams. You want to replace one utopian idea with another, as if people will be good if we just let them be.
No, I only want them to have a chance to find the right path and to follow it.
But the path always splinters or turns back on itself. Dreams transform into the opposite of what we wanted or hoped. There could still be terrible divisions, conflicts, wars.
Yes, and that's just it. The unseen want us to believe that they will wake the dreamers up when they know how to do things better. But the remaining dreamers will only be held in reserve, to be used as an army if needed. The women kept in limbo to be exploited for egg harvesting or euthanized to cut costs.
No, that would never happen.
I think you know it is very likely if we keep the brightest minds outside the equation.
Intelligence is not necessarily the answer.
But aligning it with radical kindness, it just might work. And we have to try. What other choice do we have?
No, I could just turn you in right now or kill you, as no doubt you will me, yes? If I don't do what you want, to protect your grand vision of a new civilization?
Wouldn't I have just done that before, the first night we met?
I wish I could believe you.
You'll have to look into your heart for the answer. You can do what you want with me, It won't matter. Someone else will only take my place. Someone else will put a stop to this madness.
Then I could just go away.
Like the man in the dream? Where would you go? Anyway, I don't think that's who you are.
I don't know who I am anymore.
Because it's hard to follow what's best for yourself and others at the same time. But you have done it before. Do you remember that one young man who did come to kill you? Where do you think he is at this moment?
Probably lost at the wasteland at the edge of some city.
No. He's one of us. He's one of the leaders. You saved him, and he sent me to save you. Please, we must do this together. He trusted you, and now you must trust me.
Yes, I finally found it. Just maybe the heart of the story. I can't wait for Amy to read this tomorrow.
The next day, our intrepid and recently more dapper Henry is back in his observation room, listening to the conversations in the elevator.
Let's see what fascinating interlocutors meet in the marketplace of ideas this morning.
So I said to him, you are not the person I thought you were when we first met. And what did he say? That who can be completely themselves all the time. He might have a point, except his profile picture showed him to be 25 years old and tall and a former semi-pro baseball player, but he's more like 45, short and kind of clumsy. Sounds more like my type. Can you introduce me? Sure, why not?
Let's leave that for now, shall we? And tune into Elevator 2. 2 channels to choose from, folks, and endless entertainment.
Maurice gets on the elevator with Mrs. C.
Come on, Maurice. I'm holding it for you.
You don't have to do that, Ellen. I'm very slow.
Oh, gosh.
Oh, gosh, they seem pretty cozy.
I can't wait a few seconds, unless you don't want to ride the elevator with me.
Of course I do. Very kind, very kind.
Nice jacket.
I'll tell you a little secret. I got it at Walmart.
No. Really? You said you picked it up in Borneo when you were there as an international lawyer.
I wish. No, Walmart. Or was that Sears before they closed? I'm not sure anymore. You know, you remind me a bit of my third wife.
What happened to her?
Oh, she divorced me for her chiropractor. She always did have a bad back.
I see. I never quite know if you were joking or not. That is a very funny story. You will have to tell me the rest next time.
I'll be glad to, my dear. Over dinner, perhaps? Beautiful dreamer, queen of my song.
Romance seems to be in the spring air today. Come on, folks, you know it could snow again tomorrow. Uh-oh. Better watch out, Mrs. C, you're about to be caught.
List while I woo thee with soft melodies.
Amy comes out of the other elevator.
Grandma, who is that?
Who was who?
The man who was just singing to you in the elevator.
Oh, Mad Maurice. He keeps telling me he was married 4 or 5 times, but I know he was only married once for over 40 years, but his wife died.
Why doesn't he just tell you the truth then?
Probably because it's a hard thing for him to talk about, or he doesn't want to upset me. There's an old world form of politeness that you might not understand, my dear. And well, besides, maybe he just likes me.
Grandma.
Well, what's not to like? Huh, Henry? But I have to go out. Maurice went to the bookmobile and I suddenly need a book. I'll make you some soup when I come back.
Can you believe it? My grandma having a boyfriend.
Well, that Maurice guy seems nice enough.
Wait, how did you know that his name was Maurice?
Oh, I must have just seen them together in the lobby once or twice.
Well, she can't know him for that long.
Well, I've only known you for what, a month?
And your point is?
Nothing, I guess. But
You should have told me. She could have gotten in trouble. You never know a person's true motives.
Amy, don't you think perhaps you're being just a tad bit overprotective?
I most certainly am not.
You worry about her as much as she worries about you.
I just don't like when people lie.
I wasn't lying.
I was talking about Maurice to my grandma, but that's good to know. Anyway, so it must be nice working in the pet shop, nice change of pace from here with all those little puppy dogs.
Oh, that. Yeah, nothing cute about cleaning up after them for hours.
I was gonna get a poodle once. Not the prettiest, but I thought it needed some love. The grandma said, how will you take care of it when you can't even take care of yourself?
Even though you take care of her and her cat.
She does like to control things. When I got my first apartment, she had the painter install cameras to spy on me. God, I was so angry.
Oh, I can see why. That's awful.
She said it was only because she was worried about me.
But see, proves my point.
Well, maybe. It's just she hasn't had a very happy life. She grew up in Siberia.
Really? My dad was always threatening to send me there.
Well, you're lucky that he didn't. My grandma and her family were sent there by Uncle Joe. Nothing to eat, impossible to farm, and weather was just horrible.
Her uncle did that? Really?
Well, that's what they called Joseph Stalin in those days. Yeah. I mean, I know I don't, just after everything she's been through, I don't have much to complain about, but sometimes I hate using this cane. Like the other day, I didn't want to use it. And I slipped at the grocery store. These kids, they just laughed their heads off, thought I was drunk or just clumsy. They didn't even bother to help me up.
That's disgusting. If I had been there.
Thanks. But I like to fight my own battles.
You are a bit like your grandma. She's a tough old bird.
Mm-hmm. And which one of us do you think is cuter?
Your grandma, of course.
Well, then maybe you should ask her out then.
Funny you should say that. She's already invited me to come over to her apartment at 1 a.m. But in her defense, she doesn't know that we're kind of dating. There is something she really needs me to do.
Well, I bet there is, Grandma. Anyway, who said that you and I are dating?
You did a couple of weeks ago. But as for your grandma, I could never compete with Maurice. What was that for?
Helping my grandma.
But it's getting to be a habit.
Why, do you mind? I mean, because if you don't like it.
Oh no, I it's just listen, there's something I think I should tell you.
You ready?
Ready.
Henry. Honey buns. Less talk, more action.
Well, okay.
Got it.
What was that?
You stop.
Not that again. I'm sure this will look great online when your boss sees it. Sorry, Copper.
Copper?
Wow. Didn't you know? Your boyfriend is a detective, a gumshoe, a real Sammy Spade, spying on people in this building. Innocent, unsuspecting, gullible people like you.
Henry, how could you?
Yeah. How could you, honey buns?
Shut up. Amy, listen. I can explain.
No, I don't want to hear it. Wait, did my grandma hire you to spy on me? To pretend to be my friend?
No, of course not. This is not who I am. This is just my job.
Your job. Oh, okay, I see. I just thought, just maybe that you and we were starting to become something special, to become something real. And then you were just only deceiving me all along, drawing me in when you knew how Henry.
Sorry, look, I really need to make a call. Damn it, where did I put my phone?
Your phone?
You want to use mine?
Shut up, Barney.
In the middle of telling you how much you've let me down, let us down, and you want to make a call?
Let's go, huh?
If I'm that boring, I can't believe that I was so stupid to think that for a moment, a guy who made stuff up could also pretend that he really cared for me, But to sink so low as to cozy up to my grandma just to get close to me? No, it's just best that I found out now before I just really, don't touch me! Stay away from me. And grandma too.
The old lady too. Hank, really?
Amy, wait. Now look what you've done.
No, pal. It's what you've done. You thought you had us dead to rights, but now we got the goods on you. Get you fired for sure. I mean, slacking on the job. Think about it, before you go to your boss. We could talk more tomorrow. Come on, Bernie.
Amy. Great, now I find it. Oh, hell, what am I gonna do?
The hours slip slowly toward dawn. Holly and David watch the sleepers sleep, but the Dreamkeeper still hasn't decided if he's ready to set them free.
On a night like this, they seem so peaceful, as if nothing is wrong in the universe, as if nothing needs to be changed but can just be left the way it is.
Yes, almost as if they are our children and we don't have the heart to wake them up for school.
But sometimes it is as if a strange, unsettling wind is blowing through the collective psyches of their hibernating souls. Lightning streaks in sinister skies.
Images of crows perched on fence posts, crowds huddled, frightened at cliff edges, a field of enormous mushrooms turning dark red in the sun.
Yes, perhaps because a stellar storm is kicking up.
A sunspot flaming out into space that at certain seasons could cause the glory of the aurora borealis, but in these hours, somehow only making the darkness more tangible.
An unsettling phenomenon I can't explain. But other nights.
Most everyone dreaming in brilliant colors.
A meadow full of wildflowers.
Autumnal trees blazing orange and yellow.
A crystal vase on a lace tablecloth.
A bright red apple on a golden plate.
So enticing, so real.
But for one dreamer, dreams were more in black and white, edging towards sepia, rain falling on a river at the edge of a ruined city, what should have been silver, with a hint of a rainbow.
Only gray, steely rain. Endless rain. An anomaly going against the grain, at least for that night, and I would have to report it. I would have no choice.
And what about tonight? Things seem so much calmer.
The dreams of the group seem to have a similar thread, like the way a soft breeze ripples across a field of prairie grass.
Or currents deep in the ocean create mysterious, delicate patterns on the seafloor.
There would not be much to report.
If you do what we discussed, you will never have to report on them ever again.
I know.
You must decide. I have to get back to the others. We're planning our trip to the new colony site, and I need to help with the details.
And when you get back, will your captain be waiting for you?
They are all waiting.
He must be missing you.
No, it isn't like that at all.
Are you so sure? You are a very special woman. Any man would see that. He must already have been charmed by your charisma.
Is that what I did to you?
No, because I wouldn't let you.
I see. Then why are you so jealous?
I'm not. Not in the slightest. Anyway, even if I do help you with this, I haven't decided to go with you.
Why wouldn't you?
Maybe I need to follow my own destiny.
David, don't you realize yet that your destiny is with me? I want us to make the future together. Does that help with your decision?
It might. But then you could just be saying that to get me to do what you want. And what kind of leader could you be if you would do such a thing?
No, the question is, what kind of leader could I be without you by my side? And that is one I do not want to have to answer. So you have to choose.
Yo, pal. Glad you could make it.
Look, just give me back those pictures and delete them from your files.
And then you will deep six the conversation of C and me talking about selling drugs.
Ugh, Bernie, you're not supposed to admit it, stupid.
Well, I do have that recorded.
That won't matter. Your boss is gonna can your butt big time.
Yeah, really big time.
I don't know that I care.
Maybe not, but your girl, she will never forgive you. First, for lying to her, then for getting her picture all over the place. About that, I'm betting you do care. Especially if I testify that you've been in on it with us from the start.
You wouldn't do that.
Yeah, sure we would. I mean, wouldn't we, Seymour?
Let me handle this, will you, Bernie? Go take a walk, okay?
But see, sure, see, sure.
There's a good boy.
You're not about to throw your friend to the wolves too, are you? Just to get yourself out of a jam? That would be pretty darn low, even for a lowlife like yourself.
Oh, hey, whoa, no need to be insulting. I just wanted us to be able to talk it out, man to man, find some common ground.
You've already caused me a lot of problems.
Hey, just trying to make a living like everyone else. We've been selling the soft stuff, marijuana, the greenest green you've ever seen, the best organic crop. Well, we do have a social conscience, but now that you can get it at Costco, no point anymore, right? We just may need to move up the food chain. Never wanted to be hardcore, but life throws you funny curves.
I never thought of it that way.
But my best buddy, who's like a brother to me, he believes in me. I don't want to let him down.
Yeah, I understand. My uncle got me this job. I hardly had any training.
Really? I never would have guessed.
Unless you count watching Casablanca and The Big Sleep like 1,000 times.
Hey, you like old films too? We should get together, have a Netflix kind of night, pop some popcorn. Oh, maybe bake some brownies. Eh?
Wait. You can't just try to sweet talk me like that. I'm about to turn you over to the police.
Yeah, but I was thinking, instead, if you want to lead on some real stuff.
I told you, I don't want any stuff.
No. I mean a bigger lead. I'm just small potatoes, the designer garden variety, but small all the same. Sam Spade often has to decide who the real bad guys are. Maybe you'd sacrifice your girl for some petty bust. I tend to think you wouldn't. But all right, to sweeten the deal, maybe I can offer you something else. Something that will make you look real good.
You still need to pay for what you did.
Sure, Sam, my boy. I'm willing to pay in my own stylish fashion, but wouldn't hurt to listen first, would it? Got any Coke left?
Coke, I told you I'm not a user.
Nah, I mean Coca-Cola. I saw a case in your office the other day when I was... Oops.
You were in there? You were in there?
Yeah, you should really get a better lock. I was gonna plant some things, get you messed up real bad. Then I started to read some of that book you were writing, and man, I couldn't help it, but I started to cry.
No.
Yeah, it's so beautiful. I can't wait to see how it comes out. I mean, is the Dreamkeeper gonna do what Holly wants or not?
Well, I guess they'll just have to wait and see like everyone else. Not like we can control the future.
So true. It's so true.
But tell me, what did you think of the plot development in Chapter 3? And do you think that Holly would have killed David if they hadn't fallen in love?
I'd be happy to tell you. Once we go in your office and I get that Coke.
Sure. Sorry. I don't know what happened to my manners.
No, neither do I. So, Henry went to visit Mrs. C in her apartment in the middle of the night.
Meet me tonight in dreamland under the silvery moon. Meet me tonight in dreamland where love's sweet roses bloom. Come with the love light gleaming in your dear eyes of blue. Meet me in dreamland, sweet dreamy dreamland. There may your dreams come true. Meet me tonight in dreamland under the silvery moon. Meet me tonight in dreamland where love's sweet roses bloom. Take that.
I will.
They sat up together for hours, playing Kaluki, a card game like Rummy. No, don't play that card!
Hey, no cheating. No help from the omniscient narrator.
Darn it, I should have known that you had that 8 of hearts.
I win again. That's 5 peanut butter cookies and 8 chocolate pieces. What a haul.
Then, without warning, they suddenly heard it. The vague mechanical ratcheting and thumping sound she had sworn she'd been hearing for months from the apartment below. Grunk, grunk, grunk. Well, I'm not as good at the sound effects as Mrs. C, but you know what I mean.
No, dear. I can do it better. Grunk, grunk, grunk. See?
Yes, I see. Thanks. Henry took out a tape recorder, put the microphone against the floor where the noise was loudest, and pressed record.
Is that all you are going to do?
No, I gave the state police a tip a couple days ago. They should be ready to catch them loading the vans at 4 a.m. when they usually do it. I also gave them the license plate numbers and the address of the guy in charge.
How did you get their plate numbers? Where's the time for the handoff?
Oh, a good detective never reveals his sources.
Not even for some peanut butter cookies? The only way you're going to win any tonight. You are terrible at Kaluki. Well, I guess you deserve at least just one. Though my granddaughter might not agree.
Your granddaughter? How did you know?
Before she came and accused you of being the devil, you mean? I was a teacher, dearie. Don't need surveillance equipment to know what's going on in my world.
Oh, I suppose you don't. And you're okay with it?
Would I be sitting here with you in the middle of the night if I was not?
Amy's still really mad at me.
Well, you will just have to do something about it, won't you? I told you, she's rather stubborn like me.
Yes, but she has your eyes.
Now that does deserve another cookie.
Geez, Henry. I know I've been a bit hard on you in the past, but a whole counterfeiting ring for fake labels for Parmesan cheese and Bordeaux wine right here in the Chicago suburbs? Who would have thought it?
Yeah, Seymour did say it would be worth our while.
Seymour? Who's he? Oh, you mean the drug dealer.
Yeah, but he promised me he'd get a real job. Seems there's an opening at Costco in the organic goods department.
Anyway, it's time we start to think about the future ourselves.
Oh, you know me, Uncle Marty. The future is not really my thing.
All right. I admit it. I thought at first you were just too much of a dreamer, head stuck in the clouds. I was sure I was going to end up with egg on my face. Instead, I ended up with a full breakfast, eggs Benedict, pancakes, the works, right on my plate. Plus, the cheese and wine. We're really going places. Blast off into the stratosphere! Know what I mean?
Yes, maybe for the first time I do. And not just hypothetically either.
Yeah, that's just it. Theories are good and all that, but sooner or later you gotta test them out. And I can't think of a better co-pilot for the ride beside you, kid. Your methods are unusual, but they work. Can't believe I'm saying that.
Yeah, neither can I. But I just don't know.
You are a cagey one. Okay, I'll give you a 10% raise. Oh, all right. 20 and a percentage on any finder's fees when we have those kinds of cases. What do you say?
Thing is, I think you were right all along.
No, I wasn't. Not right on the nose, not on the bullseye, and I'm man enough to admit it. But sure, I respect your feelings. Let's just say the job is there for you if you ever want it. You never know what you might need for a rainy day, huh?
Yeah, you never know. But we'll still see you for dinner on Friday night, right?
Are you kidding? Your mom's beef casserole is the best. But I think I see your girl waiting in the lobby, so
What were you thinking? Put
Oh.
yourself in danger like that.
There wasn't that much danger. Oh, again. I mean, once I convinced the police that I actually knew what I was talking about. Anyway, I had to do something. I believed your grandma's story, you see?
I see. I just should have believed her too.
Well, you did more than that. You've looked after her all these years.
Well, maybe I do that, but if she would have tried to investigate on her own, she could have gotten really hurt.
Yeah, she was about to start her own detective agency. Yeah. But none of that matters now. She'll finally be able to get a good night's sleep.
And what about you? If not with the job that you do.
Oh, that. I quit this morning.
You quit after what just happened? After such a big success?
Well, I wanted to have time for other things.
Your writing, you mean?
Well, that too. But I meant more like spending time with a girlfriend, one who's more permanent, like. That is, if I ever have one.
Well, you might, if you can still learn to tell the truth once in a while. Like, don't you ever dare turn my life upside down like that again. It could alter the very atomic structure of the space between us.
Really, you think? I mean, I won't. I won't, I promise.
Good. But at least you still have the job at the pet shop, right?
Well, actually, no, Amy, I don't.
Did you get fired from that too? You know, my boyfriend is really incompetent.
Well, the thing is, I never really worked at a pet store.
Really? I can feel the atoms shifting already. Could you lie about that too?
Well, yeah, I'm really allergic. I break out in hives all over.
It's too bad because I finally got that poodle I wanted. And I thought you could help me take her for walks.
Well, I suppose there are always shots.
I'm not giving Ursula any more shots.
I meant for me, not the dog. But anyway, did you mean what you said when you said I was your boyfriend?
What do you think? Still in training, but has potential. Anyway, I can't wait to see what happens next.
You and me both.
Did you really mean what you said before?
Every word.
Then we'd better get started.
Yes, I think we should.
One by one, the Dreamkeeper went down the line and turned off the Dream Leaders. And then he turned on a switch that would encourage a soft, gentle hum to float through the headsets of the sleepers, instead of the continual stream of universal learning tapes that they were being force-fed into their brains. They relaxed slightly, as if released from a heavy burden.
That's the first step. For some, it may take several hours to fully awaken.
Don't you think we should do it faster in case someone figures it out?
No, they're less likely to realize it if it's happening gradually, and better in the long run for the survival of the dreamers. You have the message ready you want them to hear when they're fully awake?
Yes, it is done.
Good. If we were the unseen, we would brainwash them while they're still asleep.
No, they need to think for themselves. Whether they want to join the new colony in the first wave or maybe someday in the future, they could be important allies when we need them most.
They may not ever go over to our side.
I know. But you've also built in a way for them to return to hibernation if they prefer.
Yes, that last choice should be theirs.
Just like it should be our choice whether or not we have children.
After all we've been through, you still think we should?
Uh-huh.
The transition will be hard enough for the adults.
Well, you could become a counselor then for the colony.
So you want me to raise children and take care of everyone else?
Why not? Brighter dreams for a new generation.
Henry and Amy's attention is drawn to people talking in the elevator.
So he says this is the way the world works. Glass ceilings are made so the people at the top can see through them and look down at the people below. Really? And I said, no. Yeah, and I left that elevator and I never saw him again.
Let's try channel 2.
So, I hear you're a bit of a hero now.
It was my granddaughter's boyfriend who took care of it for me.
And you're okay with her having a boyfriend?
If she can have one, so can I. Recommend someone good?
Well, I do happen to know a sprightly man in his early 70s. Not much hair left in his head, but he can cook up a storm.
Can he make me a Spanish omelet?
Sure. He can even dance the tango.
As long as he doesn't do it while he is cooking. It wouldn't be safe.
Oh, my dear, the tango was all about danger.
Well, let's go then.
Yes.
Infinite shining heavens rose, and I saw in the night uncountable angel stars showering sorrow and light. I saw them distant as heaven, dumb and shining and dead, and the idle stars of the night were dearer to me than bread. Night after night in my sorrow, the stars looked over the sea, till lo, I looked in the dark, and a star had come down to me.
First time I saw you, when the light bulb in the elevator, suddenly blinked on and it was so cute over your head, even if you didn't know what you were doing.
I saw your face once in a dream. So pale, so tired looking.
How could that be? Anyway, a terrible face. You shouldn't have looked.
I heard you singing in the elevator before I even met you. Your voice, down to earth and soaring, almost ethereal.
How could I not look? Who knows where we really go when we dream? Into the future or the past?
Does that even make any sense? I mean, how can it be both at the same time?
Does it really matter? If everything is interconnected, overlaps, I only read the dreams of others to make sure they're not being led astray.
I'm writing a story, that's all, about people who have dreams.
You could do much more. you could help realize them.
Did I ever write that line? I'm just a boy from Chicago.
My ancestors, they may have come from a place called Chicago.
Chicago.
Yes, a city by a lake.
A place that could be home.
Where the moon lingers on the water long after dusk.
Henry, what was that?
I don't know. Technology always gets more advanced, but sometimes it seems like we're going back to the days of party lines on a telephone, and you never know who's out there who might be listening or joining in.
No, I thought you were the one listening to others. Hearing voices, and everybody says my grandma's crazy.
Thanks a lot.
Don't mention it. Anyway, I love my grandma all the same.
Oh yeah? Then what about me?
Well, oh, sorry. There's some static on the line. Please hold and I'll put your call through.
Very funny.
Well, maybe just a little. I mean, that is if we can both stay on the line, without any outside interference and not get our signals crossed.
Well, madame, we can certainly try.
Please do.
The Dreamkeeper had chosen a new awakening. He and Holly were preparing to join the others working with the blue-eyed dreamer.
Soon they would take a rocket to the distant colony that would be their new home.
But the former Dreamkeeper couldn't help thinking that he would continue to dream for those sleepers who for so long had been his charge.
Because by setting them free, he had awakened his own capacity to dream.
But he knew also that freedom was not enough in itself. There had to be freedom for something. It was a matter of responsibility. It was a matter of nurturing that light of a better world, not through technology, but from the heart.
He turned off his last monitor for the last time. He took Holly's hand, he closed the door, and they headed down the stairs. If enough people did this, attended to the present, the ones they can love or coalesce through kindness, maybe they would all have a chance. Even those dreamers. Even them. Even us.